T.C Matherne, thank you so much for doing my little podcast show here.
It's
Uh,
a pleasure, man.
I
Thanks
I
for
don't
having me.
know. Do you remember the first time we met each other?
I think that's a tough question. And I was thinking about that yesterday when we were texting. But did we meet on? I know you and I spoke um, at the Your Honor table read, but also we worked on breaking news in Yuba County together.
Yes.
I don't remember which was first, or did we meet before that?
I believe no, we didn't meet before that. I think we've only
Okay.
met each other twice in person. And the first time was breaking news in Yuba County. And I kind of have this. I think
Okay.
I told you this thing I'm about to tell you at the Your Honor table read. But
Mm.
so that I think I either got the call sheet for breaking news either the night before or the morning of. But I knew that Allison Janney and like Regina Hall, Matthew Modine, like all these incredible actors, like were
Yeah.
gonna be there. But I was most excited when I got the call sheet and I saw T.C. Matherne on there. I know this is. I think I told you this at the Your Honor read, but me, I live in Huntsville, Alabama. Once upon a time in Huntsville, and I have another buddy here who we like. We love like scouring IMDb and like looking at like local actors that are just like succeeding because we want to see like, oh, what can we do to book as much as them or so on and so forth. And it was like you, Lucy Faust, and some other people. And I actually worked with Lucy too. She's great.
She's incredible. Yeah.
But so like we kind of like we and the reason we knew about you is because we are such big fans of True Detective season 1, and then when
Oh
season
yeah.
3 came out, we just gulped it down. And you are I can't remember what exact episode you're in,
I don't think
but
I remember
you got to
either.
work with both Mahershala Ali and Stephen Dorff, and you crushed it
Yeah.
too. And we were like, oh, he like lives in New Orleans, and he's a great local actor. And so whenever I saw your name on that call sheet, I was like, T.C. Matherne. Like I sent my buddy a text. I was like, dude, I get to work with T.C. Matherne today. And we were like cracking up. And then when I met you, you're such a nice and easygoing guy, and a great actor too. And then the second time, yeah, was at the Your Honor table read where I tracked you down, and I think I told you all of that, and you were probably like, oh, okay, cool.
No, I'm that's super flattering, man, and I appreciate you saying it. Even again, I get it's interesting because I feel like and I am in a way, but like still in the same, like someone's looking at you the same way you were looking at me.
I
You know
hope
what I
so.
mean? They are. I mean, but also it's like, so it's just like, just do, your thing and do good work. But I'm glad you like True Detective. That was like a stressful thing, man,
Dude,
because
I
I
can't
booked
even
it
imagine.
because it was like it was a lot of pages. We shot all that in one day, and they cut some of the dialogue out, which is fine. It happens, but a lot of pages, and they want it word perfect.
Yeah.
So and I have like an improv background, so things can kind of be kind of loose with me
Yeah.
for better or worse. And the script supervisor came over, and he kept sweetest guy on the planet, but he was like, you said barn here, it's shed. You said it's like these little things, and I'm like, I promise, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. But man, Mahershala Ali is a saint, bro. He's like at the end of that shoot, and I play it pretty cool. I don't get like starstruck. I'm just
Yeah, of
kind of
course.
doing my thing. But he was so like such an actor with me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was just like giving and taking the whole time. And afterwards, I was so impressed. I was like, dude, thank you for taking care of me today. And I went to shake his hand, and he like pulled me in for a
Oh,
hug. He's
dude,
like,
that's awesome.
he's like, you took care of me. And I was like, man, this is a sweetheart.
Dude,
They're both great, and that was an incredible experience. Yeah,
yeah,
but very very stressful, like very
how
nerve
many
wracking.
how many auditions did you have to go through? And like when you were you a big fan of like the show prior to when you were auditioning for it?
Yeah, I had watched season one and I was a big fan,
Yeah.
and then I didn't watch season two. I think I started it, and then
Yeah.
Never finished it. And then I don't remember how many auditions it was. I don't think it was that many. Um, I mean, to be honest, I think they were, I think I got lucky. I think they were kind of pressed for filling that part,
Yeah.
because I think I auditioned for it that week and flew out that week.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
What's funny is for that, I actually read for that part and they brought me in 12 times.
did they
No, I'm
really?
just joking.
I was about to say it's like because that stuff like that happens. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That would be terrible though if I auditioned for it 12 times and they kept bringing me back in and they like watch your tape and they're like, he's the guy, but let's keep bringing in this other guy just to, just to
Dude,
wear
that
him
happens.
down.
Unfortunately, that happens all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that's why it's like as an actor, you have to like it's like a constant practice of like being zen and present.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like every time I get an audition, I don't really do it anymore, luckily, but I'm like precious about it. It's gone. It's already gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then you forget about it. Sometimes I'll get a call from my agent and they'll be like, "You booked this thing." I was like, "I don't even remember auditioning for that."
Yes.
But that's how it
That's
goes.
something that it took me a really long time to learn, and I'm finally glad I learned it because some people just never do. Is when
Yeah.
you get an audition, especially if it's for something like big or against or opposite an actor that you really respect. After you tape it, you just think about it every day, and every time your phone vibrates, you like pick it up and check it, and that like literally just can drain you. I remember doing that for one of the first auditions I got, and I think as I had gotten a call back for it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm like this is every time my phone went off, I'm picking it up, and then like a month went by, and I was like, I just gotta forget about it. Like I can't let this like
Yeah.
destroy me, because every other
Yeah.
audition I was getting, I was like, I don't care, I just care about this one.
Yeah.
And then when I finally, like you kind of just said, you tape it and then you just kind of forget about it. And then when you book it, you're like, that's cool. I don't remember what it was, but like, I'm ready for it. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's like operating from a place of like not caring because you still care about it, like
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
that comes, you care, but not acting out of a place of desperation.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's where like once you can fall in, it's simple, but it's not easy, But once you can fall into that little pocket, I find that's when like at least for me, it's like then things really started rolling.
Yeah. Somebody once told me that, kind of like what you said, like, I'm going to butcher how they said it. But yeah, they said essentially don't be begging them for a job. Show them that you're
Yeah.
the one that can do the job. And
Yeah.
it's just like this. You're asking me to audition for this because I'll show you how to do it. And if you don't like me the way I did it, then that's fine. Then another actor, most of the time, a really other great actor gets the part, and you feel happy for them as well. Um,
Yeah, it's like I found the stuff that I book is the stuff that's meant for me, and the stuff I don't like. If I watch it or see it, it wasn't for me. Even it either wasn't good, which sometimes I'm like, dodged a bullet, or
yeah,
like it's like it is good, but I could have never done it. You know what I mean? It's like that because that's not me.
yeah,
And once you accept that, it's just things get easier. You know what I mean? It's like you're not so hard on
yeah,
yourself.
without a doubt. I kind of want to go like all the way back before you started booking these huge projects like Godzilla, True Detective, Antebellum, and where were you in your life when you were like, oh, like acting's an option, I want to do that? Were you like a very like little child and that's just always been your dream, or did it like just happen, in your mid 20s or?
Yeah, that's funny because sometimes I feel like I got into it a little later, than I would. I fell into it. I was at in college. I studied psychology, and that was great. But I didn't know what I wanted to do, and acting was never. I never acted. Didn't do anything like that.
Oh wow.
And then my senior year, so yeah, I never did. I wasn't a theater kid. I didn't do anything like that.
Yeah, you don't seem
But
like a
I didn't
theater
like
kid.
anything. I was like a kid. Like I like really, yeah,
You
yeah.
seem too chill of a person to be a theater kid, which I find is very nice.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I mean, again, I wouldn't know. I like if you said like to describe a theater kid, I couldn't do it. I don't know
You've
what.
never been around them on set? They usually
This
have an
might take us
aura.
down. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
I
okay,
don't like,
okay, gotcha.
I don't. They're not like, hey, theater kids, come sit over here, and so we all, you know what I mean? It's like I don't know who or what that
A
means. You
theater
know?
kid is usually the one that just randomly starts singing show tunes. Or,
Okay.
or usually they'll tell you, "I've done this like out of nowhere." I don't. Maybe I've met a lot of them during live auditions. You know, where you're sitting there reading your sides, going everything, and then someone just kind of scoots over to you and is like, I did Fiddler on the Roof." You're like, "Oh, cool, man."
You know what's funny? And again, this is tangential. We can go back, but
Yeah.
when I was doing live auditions, no one would talk to me. I think I like
Yeah.
have a disposition about me where people like don't talk to this
Don't
kid.
talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like I'd have like a very I mean maybe it's because I'm like focused, but like and my focused face is like a mean face. Because no one I have seen people in casting rooms like talking and socializing and they do not talk to me at all, which I prefer
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
So I'm
And you know,
like,
what? Actually, the very first time we met was at a live audition, and I walked up to you and you said, "Do not talk to me," and you had a shirt that said, "Do not talk to me," on.
yeah,
So maybe
yeah.
that's also it.
I forget that my audition shirt says
It
that.
says that.
I wear it
Yeah,
to every audition.
it's
It's
in big
unrelated.
fine print too. But sorry, going back. So senior year of college, you said. So how did you?
No, senior year of college, I went to sorry, I'm drinking all this
No,
water.
you're fine.
Senior year of college, I have an uncle that lives in Chicago, and I went up to visit him just because I like to travel and see stuff and free place to crash on his couch. And he got me a ticket to an improv show up there, a long form improv show, and I saw it. And I was a kid that didn't like anything really. I tried everything but didn't like it. I did sports and everything, and I saw other kids with like this passion that I never felt or had.
Yeah,
And then I saw an improv show, and I was like, "This is it! Oh my god!" It's like the heaven. I was like, it's like like light was
that's
shining down. It was like,
awesome.
this is what you're meant to be doing. So I went back to college, to university. 6 months later, graduated, and then I moved to Chicago as soon as I graduated. And yeah,
Wow.
and I studied improv up there and performed improv for I think 5 years up there, which was great. I think I grew more in Chicago than I did in any other point in my life. I grew more in Chicago as a person and as a performer.
That's
Um,
incredible. And like, what was your troupe like called? Or
I mean, so I was kind of all over the place. I was like at Second City and IO,
yeah,
and the way it works, especially for people that are like learning. I say it the way it works. I haven't. It's been a while since I came up through improv, but you would just do as much as you can. So you'd have independent teams where just like buddies, like me and Sample, you want to go do a show tonight? And we would do a show or watch a show. And then you would get picked up on teams like at Second City or IO, and they would form their own teams. So I mean I was on hundreds of teams, it feels like. You know what I mean?
wow.
It's just you're performing with everybody and you're just kind of getting your reps in. And I miss it, man. It was a lot of fun.
So you said you
Um,
did this about for 5 years in Chicago.
I
So,
did,
so
yeah.
was there
And then
ever a point while you were doing that where then you started like looking at more like TV and film roles for acting, or was that
yeah, it
after?
kind of at the tail end of it kind of fell into it. Someone had seen me in an improv show and they kind of like linked me up with their agent type situation. And so I kind of that fell into it that way.
Yeah.
Um, and then my like I forget what year it was, and she's better now, but my mom got cancer, so I came back home and to Louisiana, and that's what really got me into film and television. Was like scripted work. Was like I was being down here, and there's actually more work down here than probably Chicago,
Yeah.
in film and television. So, and then it just fell into it, and like it just started happening, and I started, auditioning, and then booking, and it snowballed from there. So I feel very lucky because I would have the path I took to get to where I'm at. no one, including myself, could have ever planned that out.
Yeah.
Like I just fell into all of it, got lucky,
Yeah.
and kind of fell into
It's
all of it.
almost like you improvised your way through life. Oh, and that's the podcast. No.
That's it. That's a good button. I like it.
So
But yeah, that's actually true. Because if improv taught me anything, it's that I'm a very scared, nervous person. Like I had anxiety
yeah, you
constantly. Like
sweat
I'm
a
nervous
lot.
right
I
now.
noticed that when I met you. When I shook your hand, it,
Yeah,
like just dripping sweat. I was
the
like, man,
sweat.
somebody
Yeah,
get
yeah,
this guy
yeah.
a towel.
But I've learned through improv that instead of feeling that fear and running away from it, I kind of lean into it now. So I use my fear as kind of like a compass. And anytime I feel fear, I'm like, oh, well, that's the direction I need to be going then.
Yeah, that.
And it's worked out okay so far. Yeah.
You said earlier, whenever you were talking about True Detective season 3, and you're talking about how they wanted to be like word for word perfect. You know, Nick Pizzolatto, I assume, did he direct that episode as well?
He did. Nick did. Yeah.
That's incredible, by the way. I've always wanted to work with him. But have you found maybe some directors or writers that you've worked with are more lenient when it comes to like improvising in a scene? Is that something that you
Yeah. I don't
prefer to
know if you
do?
got a chance because you actually worked with him as well, but I don't know how much you got to have one-on-one time with Tate Taylor.
I briefly met him. I'm barely in the movie. It's super brief.
That's
I
okay.
only
I
had
didn't,
one
and
line,
honestly,
and
I
it was
remember
to
the
you,
place.
which was pretty cool.
That was so. Yeah, it was. We had a fun day. You're such a little jerk, and you did it so well.
I was playing for the people that don't know.
Oh yeah.
I was playing a jerk.
Yeah, no. Well, that's what's funny is I'm glad that I got to play that part in Yuba because I was actually a sweet guy, but a lot of times I play the bad guy,
Yeah.
you know? And so a lot of people like think of me as a bad guy, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like from like for the most part, it's like if anyone sees me or recognizes me, it's not a I'm not a good guy in their eyes. But no, you did, and I think that's a testament of a good actor is the fact that you are such a sweetheart,
Oh, thanks, man.
and then you played such a little jerk,
Yeah.
that's acting. That's great.
What?
Uh, but Tate will let you swing for the fences. He'll let you. Again, I was very nervous because I wasn't. I don't want to spoil anything if someone hasn't watched the movie, but I was only supposed to be in a couple scenes in that movie. And then my first day of shooting, I was kind of loose and improvising. Because on your first day of set, I don't know if you feel like this, but it's like you kind of have to gauge. It's not really your rodeo, you know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
what's the vibe on set? Are we loose? Are we tight? And you have to adapt. I think as an actor, because you want to be collaborative. So it's like, how do I fit myself into this puzzle? And my first day on set, I saw I felt how loose everything was, and I was like, okay, let's see what I can get away with. And then they end up writing me into the rest of the script up until the climax, which was incredible.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations on having such a big part of that, man. And
Thanks,
working with
man.
Tate.
Thank you so much. So yeah, Tate. To answer your question, Tate, and they're both great experiences, though. You know what I mean? It's
Oh
like
yeah.
Tate's super loose, and Nick was. It's not that Nick was tight, but the words on True Detective are so everything's the way he writes is poetic. It's
Yes.
poetry, and you want to honor those words. And it's important that you do. I think so. It's like they're both good. It's just very different beast in how you operate.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And I don't know if you find it the same way. I've talked to some actors who agree with me, and like I'm sure whenever you read a script like from a Nick Pizzolatto or from someone that needs you to be as precise as possible, but they're also like such an incredible writer. I feel like incredible writing is so much easier to absorb and like to memorize. Do you feel like whenever you're like
Yeah,
auditioning for something, you read something like only once or twice and then you have it just because like it's just so well written and so great it really sticks with you? Do you find that as well?
100%. Yeah, it's like some stuff is difficult to memorize because it's just so poorly written.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and then yeah, so like stuff like Nick's stuff, but Nick's was tough, man, only because it's like not necessarily the way I speak. but that's not a testament to the writing. It's a testament to to acting. You know, it's like I have to get there because the easiest parts are the ones that are closest to T.C. Matherne. You
Oh
know,
yeah, absolutely.
but the challenging stuff is how do I get further away? And so some of that stuff, whether it's dialect, you know, or you know, the cadence of speaking, that a normal audience member probably wouldn't pick up on, but those little things can what make it difficult as well, but in a good way. You know, difficulty I don't think always means bad.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. One of my there's this great interview of Christian Bale where he's played such a wide range of characters, like it's insane. Not only like does he change himself physically, but he just seems like an entirely different person from the inside out. And he did this one interview where someone was asking him, I think it was when he was promoting Ford versus Ferrari, where he's super skinny and he's got an accent going on. And they said, "Oh, like, are you a method? Like, are you like that character the entire time?" It's like, no, I'm not crazy. Like, I want to I talk to people like they're normal people when like someone says cut, but he was like, all these people, even though they seem so different, like I find like myself in each of them. Like I'm a lot more similar to these people than you might think I would be because I know who I am and my close friends and family like know who I am. And I was just like, yeah, that's like exactly right. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like it's almost kind of like a cliche thing now, and it's almost used as like a promotional thing, like for movies when they say, "Oh, we have a method actor or
Yeah.
this like actor," and I'm not like trying to call it anyone specifically or anything, but I feel like maybe since like Daniel Day-Lewis started like his like the way that's his own technique. I wouldn't call that method because really method acting. And I'm sorry if I'm boring the audience with acting like mythology, but it's just you just really you prep and then you throw it away, and then from that preparation that everything that you've worked on kind of locks in and you don't think about it. But that doesn't mean you're doing that like every single day, like while you're on set, and talking to like if I was playing an old sea captain, I'm not gonna go to lunch and wear my hat and have like act like I really have a hand missing.
Yeah.
What do you think about all that? I'll stop talking for a second.
No, and honestly, I mean, I don't know what type of audience you have here, but I love talking about this stuff. So it's like,
Okay.
yeah,
I don't know
because I
if I
think
have
about
an
this kind of
audience,
stuff.
TC.
What'd you say?
I
I'm
said I
sorry.
don't even know if I have an audience.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I appreciate you doing this anyway.
Yeah.
So I think about like people like to label stuff a lot, I think, you know,
Yes.
and myself included. I think as humans, that's something we enjoy to do. But I think you nailed it when you said like, and to be more specific about it, like people want to say method acting, but it's just people's method,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
My acting method is going to be different than yours. It's going to be different than Christian Bale's. It's going to be different than Daniel Day Lewis's. I think a lot of times something that I've realized that I used to turn my nose up to, but like let's say my character has a limp or I have a Boston accent, you know, or anything else. I think sustaining those things helps me stay in it, right? So like if between takes, if I have a Boston accent and between takes I go back to speaking like myself, whenever they say they go to roll again, it's gonna take me like park the car. Now I'm ready to do my scene. You know, it's like
Wicked smart.
yeah, it's like I'm not having to like get into it. I'm just like you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
to stay accessible to those
and
things,
and
right?
and that's something that Christian Bell also said. He said, "I may still walk that certain way or talk that certain way, but I'm not. I know that I'm really not that person." Is what he was
Right.
explaining to because like you kind of said, people like to label things, and I used to really think that like, oh, this person is like something's wrong with them, where they do think they're this other person, but no, it's just like our job. We just play
It's like
pretend.
how do you stay accessible to
Yeah,
the thing,
yeah,
right? It's and like and do something because like it's people don't realize that acting it's like for and me like it's so funny because like I said I found acting way later. So I the things I used to make fun of actors about now I do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I remember
Yes.
speaking of Christian Bale, you remember Christian Bale's like on set freak
Oh,
out.
for Terminator Salvation.
Terminator.
Yeah.
I remember first hearing that and I was like, this dude's a dick. Like this dude, like yelling at this, like freaking out. I was like, is it now? I'm like, I'd have been even more mad than, you know what I
Dude,
mean?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
so it's so funny, the stuff of like now, like I remember I was working on a show and I like to get very friendly with the crew, especially if you're on a project for a long time,
Yeah.
like that's your family. And I'm super collaborative, not just with actors, but cameramen and stuff. So everyone becomes very comfortable with me, which I like. But then the problem is, like, we're about to do a scene where all my friends just died. All my friends are dead. And between takes, I have a guy driving me in a car. He was a stunt guy, really sweet guy. And between takes, he's trying to shoot the shit at me. And I'm like, I can't, man. And he was understanding, but he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was like, I just can't right now. But you have to like set that boundary because it's like, I can't,
Yeah.
I'm not a good enough actor to be like, oh, yeah, shoot, rolling, and I'll have to fake
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And I don't
yeah,
want to fake it,
You never
so
want
I
to
have
force
to
it.
kind of keep myself in it. Because I think whether people know it or not, when you see really good acting, you can tell when people are faking it and when they're not.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. A lot of the times when you can see acting, that's when they're faking it. Not when
Yeah,
like
exactly. And no matter what, even if the project's okay with you faking it, that's not the work I want to be doing. And sometimes you have to fake it, or at least I do. It's like you're on the day, you're not gonna, you can't make it happen, or at least I can't. And then so I have to fake it. But what I want to do is work hard enough to where the amount of that the percentage of me having to fake whatever I'm going through is less and less.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, So that was it. Yeah. So that, I mean, so, and because that's the thing is like the more you study, and I know you really work hard on acting and you study it and you like, and so you're not, in the end of the day, you're not a method actor. You don't do Meisner. You don't do Stanislavski, which are all acting methods.
Yeah.
You do sample.
Yeah.
That's what
I
you
do
do. That's your
I
method.
like that. I do the sampling. That
You do, but every actor that gets to a certain point, it's like that's what you'll do. It's buffet style, and you pick up what works for you. I used to like hear how other people worked, and I used to think that's how I have to do it. And then I did it. I was like, well, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, dude, you're hitting on something like I love so much. Cuz it took me a long time to figure out that too, because I was taught a certain way, like you have to do it like this, and even though like that works for me, I would go and like I just love like watching those like round tables with like actors or directors and like podcasts with different actors, and when they're talking about their technique that's completely different and they're a way better actor than me, I'm just like, wait, that's not the only way you can do it. It just like kind of like uh with sports, if you're a wide receiver, someone's training and preparation isn't the same, for every other, wide receiver out there. Each one of them have a routine that they go through, and it works for them because that's just how they've done it. And so, or you teach, you teach improv. Do you teach
I do. Yeah.
any other? Do you teach like acting for film and television at all, or?
No, I've done some like Meisner, because Meisner and improv are very similar.
They're very, yeah.
Yeah, which I found just happenstance. So I've taught some Meisner stuff, but I don't think I'm a very good teacher. I mean, improv. I can get by, but I'm like, but I'm not the best. I'm not a great teacher.
You're being too humble, man. I feel like.
I appreciate you saying that, but also it's like I don't want to be a teacher.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's not. That's not something I strive for or want.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. Not knocking people that teach anything. That's not something that I'm interested.
No,
in.
yeah. I totally get that. Like, right now, me and my buddy Princeton Drake, who's also an actor here, he teaches some adult classes, and I teach some kids and stuff. But one of the things, like, I try to show them, kind of going back to what we were saying, I try to show them like all these different teachers and stuff, just because I'm like, you like learn this and then like take away something from each old teacher, like Stanislavski or Meister or Stella
Exactly.
Adler.
It's like buffet
Exactly.
style.
Yeah.
You know.
You're,
So
yeah.
I'm going to show you everything that's on the buffet, and then you take what works for you, and then that's how you build.
Yeah.
The sampling.
Yeah. Let's call it the sampling method. I like that. And
I
then
actually
let's
like that.
just
That does
teach
sound like
that.
Yeah.
But okay, I remember when we were, I think, like just like waiting on set and breaking news. I was like, I think it was when I introduced myself to you. We were talking, and I think I was like, "Oh, are you like a big, or do you like movies?" Like, I know that's like a weird question to ask an actor, but I know a lot of actors that are like, "Yeah, I don't really watch movies," and I'm just like, "How can you not watch movies? Like, that's our lives." But so are I wanted to ask you like, any are you a big movie buff? Or I know we didn't. I feel like right after I asked you that on set, we were called the set, so I never got to finish that
Had to go move.
conversation.
Because that's what's funny. I am a huge movie buff. Like I watch at least one movie a day.
Hey, me too.
Easy. Like every night, that's my like wind down routine. I'm like, what movie am I gonna watch tonight?
Yes.
I don't watch TV.
Really?
Like series. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, but I rarely watch anything like that. Which is strange. But movies I adore. I watch almost everything.
When did you start watching a movie a day? Because I started that. I want to 3 or 4 years ago. I started that, and like I don't know. Do you journal them at all? I have like a little journal I entry them into. I'm like a nerd.
I'm smiling because I like that so much. And
Okay.
I'd never thought of that before. So no, I don't journal about them, but I do like that a lot. I like that you do. I think what I'm fortunate about is that I have some close friends that also really like movies. So I guess my form of journaling would be like to just have a conversation with my buddies about the movie. Because sometimes it's what I like this. Sometimes we see eye to eye about things completely.
Yeah.
And then other times like it's their favorite movie and I think it's garbage. You know what I mean? And I like that because it's like, what do you like? What don't I like? Let's talk about it. And sometimes they convince me like, oh, you're right. And sometimes I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
exchange that like discussing it can really open your eyes about a lot of different things about movies, you know?
And one of the reasons I started like journaling them is because I think what's really cool about movies, it's my favorite art form mainly because like I could watch a movie like for instance let's see 5 or 6 years ago I watched the movie Drive by Nicholas Winding Refn. And I was like, yeah, it's okay. And I wrote it in my little journal entry. And then years later, I watched it again. And I was like, oh, my gosh, this is like one of my favorite movies now. And I actually just rewatched it the other day. So that's why I thought of it. But I was like, that's so cool. So it's kind of cool to see like 5 years or 4 years ago when I watched a movie and I thought it was like okay. Or I thought it was amazing, and then years later, I like watch it again.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you're documenting your growth as an audience member.
Yeah,
that is interesting. I rewatched Troy, and I hadn't watched it in years,
Dude,
and I didn't like it at all.
I haven't seen that since like the 7th grade. We watched it in like history class for some reason.
I watched it when I was younger. I mean, probably when it first came out, and I was like, "This is incredible. This movie is incredible."
Yeah.
And then I rewatched it, and it's like, it's bad. It's a bad. I was like shocked. I was like sat down. I was like ready. I was like pumped. It was like meeting with an old friend. Yeah. And then your old friend ends up being like a complete jerk.
Yeah, they're just life did not go well for them.
And it's not just a testament to. I keep saying testament. I don't even know if I know what that word means. It's not just saying. It's not just saying something about me viewing, but it says something about how cinema has changed over even the past 20 years or however long it's been since that movie came out, you know, because things have changed so much. Like they were using like smash zooms, like where like Sean Bean would say something to Brad Pitt and he'd turn and it'd be whoosh, you know, like slam. And I think Quentin Tarantino is the only one that
I instantly thought of that in Django Unchained where Leonardo turns around and it's bam.
But
Calvin Campbell.
But also Quentin's doing it like in a way of like he knows what he's doing. Like in a way of like he's trying to get a certain effect, and that's what he's doing.
When I feel like to really, really enjoy Quentin Tarantino films to the most fullest is to almost like be a movie buff and like almost see like all these foreign films, all these like B action films, because then when you go and watch a Quentin Tarantino film, he loves movies so much like you just see what he's referring to, and like he doesn't like like with that technique he's like almost like using it to reference that or kind of to make fun of the technique itself. But
it's I think, and I'm not going to even begin to like think what Quentin is trying to do. Quentin, like we're
yeah, like you're you're good pal.
But I like it's his movies always have an air of lightness to them, even you know what I mean. And I think it's like adds to that. Like if you were trying to do something incredibly dramatic, and then did a smash zoom like that, it would take away from the thing. But it's all in the same tone.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
No, yes, you're exactly right. Like he plays around with so many things in his films. Like in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I almost said Huntsville. He plays a lot with that stuff. Have you seen that one?
Oh yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
I liked it a lot.
I loved it. I probably saw it like 3 or 4 times in theaters. Which, by the way,
I think people were upset that it wasn't like super Quentin Tarantino-y. Like it was a little bit different than what he normally does.
Yeah.
That's fun. Like I thought it was great.
I thought it was great too, and like Leonardo DiCaprio, like him, like I just loved watching him play like this actor who was like past his prime almost, and so like I was just like, man, I feel like that's me in like 40 years. Like, hopefully not. But I was just like, I relate to this character, even though I haven't experienced any of this yet in my life. Maybe it's because like that's like my biggest fear is like to be be passed by prime as an actor. But yeah, I love Quentin Tarantino. I call him Q-Man because we know each other pretty well.
Yeah, y'all are best friends.
Yeah, I mean, you can call him Quentin.
I have to pee so bad right now. It hurts. I'm gonna go pee. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no, I'll hold down the fort and take your time, man.
Hold down the fort.
All right, this is the Once Upon a Time in Huntsville podcast, hosted by me, Sam Barinaga. I hope you guys have been enjoying the podcast so far with my buddy T.C Matherne. If you haven't seen T.C. in anything, you should go check out True Detective Season 3. You should go check out Godzilla King of Monsters, which came out, I think, two years ago. I could be wrong. And I believe he also voiced a couple characters in Red Dead 2. So I'm going to ask him about him next. And if he didn't, then I will cut this part out so I don't look like an idiot. But, oh, wow, that was a fast pee.
I almost hurt myself.
Are you okay, man?
Dry my hands.
Yeah, if you zoom out, is there just like a gallon of like pee from a used
milk jug? There's a 5-gallon drum next to me.
Oh, I was just telling the audience that I think I saw on your IMDb that you voiced a couple characters in Red Dead 2, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So kind of transitioning from movies to gaming. Are you do you play a lot of video games, or how did that come about?
What's funny about both those things is that was one of the first acting gigs I ever booked.
Oh, wow.
It just took forever to come out. And no, I wasn't a gamer before that. So I literally bought a PlayStation 4 just to play that game, you know?
Yeah.
So Red Dead 2, did you play Red Dead?
Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. I still have not. Like, I have a backlog of video games that I'm trying to get to. That's one of them. Because I'm asked that all the time. Have you played Red Dead 2 yet? I'm like, I haven't. I'm getting to it, though.
It's a bittersweet thing that was my first game.
Yeah.
Because the bar was set so high immediately.
Yeah, I've heard it's amazing.
I loved it. I like at the end of it, like I was affected by it like a movie, you know, and I do think that video games are slowly becoming a viable form of entertainment like a movie.
Yeah.
You know? Which I, again, never, like, speaking of how I've changed over the years, I would have never said that before. I was like, video games are like, I was like, I'd shrug them off. I was like, this is a lower form of entertainment. And now I'm like, dude, the way I was affected by the end of that game, like credits roll. You know, they do like the credits at the end of it, and I'm like, just bawling, crying.
Yeah.
And that's incredible.
I
You know.
I think
Um,
I really like whenever I watch a movie I like to go see what like Roger Ebert said about it if like it was around when he was still alive. And I came across this one interview where he was like very much like video games like are not a form of art. They're trash. They're for little kids.
yeah,
And I was just like, man, he was so wrong because I mean, if you go and like watch like the behind the scenes of how video games are made, like not only like on the acting front of things, like the motion capture, like
yeah.
who they put in, like that's hard stuff to do. I've done some of that, not for a video game, but like, or did you do motion capture for Red Dead or
No,
just
no, no.
voices?
Mine. And it was actually, I don't ever want to do whatever I had to do. I don't want to ever do that again.
Really?
Yeah, I was like general population people. So like if you ran into someone on the street and I had like an affectation, I was like, hey, he's over here. Like that's how I was talking the whole time.
I love it.
So I went into the studio for a whole day and they had, I'm not joking, Sam, hundreds and hundreds of lines of dialogue. And I was in the booth and there was a director on the other side of the glass and he was just like, say that line. Okay, next. Say that one angrier. Next. And just like boom, 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 boom. 100 pages and pages of one-liners. And so like by the end, and they were like, or they were like, all right, drink some water. I was like, okay. Like, cause my throat was getting dry. So it wasn't a, I'm grateful for it, but it wasn't
absolutely.
like, I think I would enjoy the motion capture side where like you're having an actual scene with another actor, but I unfortunately didn't get to, do that.
Yeah, it's have you played the video game The Last of Us?
I haven't that, but it's the same way people talk about what you said about Red Dead.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about
But
Last of Us.
they did this like great documentary on like the first game of like the making of and like watching like if for anyone that's not familiar with like mocap suits, but they're these like black like wetsuits that are super tight and you have like these white balls like all up around you and then like a headband with white balls. And so like to look at a person who's also wearing that same getup and be like crying because like you're trying to get them to leave because you don't love them anymore. Like that's like an insanely hard thing. Like as an actor, you know, that's it's a pretty difficult space to get there. But like when you're like wearing the most ridiculous costume of all time, like I have such an enormous amount of respect to actors that are able to do that and be able to like open doors that are just like like PVC piping and you know hold guns that are just green and stuff. I love stuff like that. But
Well, I think that boils down to it's much more difficult. But I think in all versions of acting, it's like I find that, and I think we lose it as adults if you don't practice it. But like keeping your imagination sharp is going to help you a ton because it's like, you know, it's hard for me when I'm on set and I've got I got a gun to my head. But like 5 minutes ago, I saw the stunt guy show me that it's a rubber gun and it's got no bullets in it. You know, I still have to know that gun's loaded. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I'm about to kill myself or someone's about to kill me. You know, because that's the only way I'll get there. So you have to practice that imagination as an actor and like keep that sharp.
You're absolutely right, man. And that's like honestly like it's a really fun thing to do. I know some actors may not enjoy that part as much, but like I really enjoy like kind of just being silly and goofy. Like as a kid I grew up doing that stuff all the time. And so the fact that that's my job now, like I think that's awesome. I think we have the best job on earth, man, to be able to just play around and play pretend. Of course, more goes into it than just we play pretend. But I mean, that's what we do.
No, I agree with you, man. It can be a tough job, but the best, like the fact that we get to do this for, like the fact that I'm an actor is insane. Like that's insane to me.
Yeah, whenever like I'm having a bad day on set or I feel grumpiness coming on, I'm like, nah, man, you got the best job on earth. Like you don't deserve to feel that way at all. Just like relax, do your thing. But I wanted to ask you, kind of going back to the gaming, are you playing anything right now?
I just finished Ghost of Tsushima. which was an
Yeah.
incredible game.
I haven't played it yet, but that's on my list as well.
It's fun, yeah. And I started God of War.
Nice.
Um,
Great game.
but going from like one epic game to another, like Ghost is a big game.
Yeah.
And so I literally went from like whenever Ghost ended, I started God of War, and I was like, I need to take a break.
Yeah.
I need to look for a break, because it's like it was like binging an entire like all of Sopranos in one sitting. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, God of War right now, but just kind of hanging out. I'm reading a lot, which is I think it helps with that imagination as well. I think so often we like don't, I don't know, or not we, but like a lot of people, myself included, like forget how to do that stuff, like use our brains in that fashion.
Yeah. I when you said that, I just thought of you just like reading like a Cat in the Hat book, just like
Yeah. There's no words. There are no words in the book. It's all pictures. It's actually a magazine. It's just a magazine.
Oh yeah. And then you cut it out and you make like little like. And you show your parents, and they're just like, yeah, that's great, TC.
Yeah,
when are you gonna move out, by the way?
Get a real job. I say I never will.
But speaking of getting a job, anything on the horizon that you want to talk about or throw out there to people?
I mean, I definitely, it's kind of a bummer, bittersweet, but like breaking news in Yuba County, I'm like bummed that it, I wish theaters were open for, when that movie came out, because I enjoyed that movie. It's a lighter movie that I haven't done got to do something that fun in a long time.
Yeah.
And so I think people enjoy the silliness of that one. And then there's a Underground Railroad comes out in May.
Yeah.
And I got to work with Barry Jenkins, the director, on that. And
congratulations.
It was incredible. I'm only on one episode, but it was a blast.
I remember you telling me about that. I don't know if you had already filmed it or you were going to film it when we spoke at the Your Honor table read. But I just remember you being like really thrilled about it. So that's awesome that like it's. Do you have a date for that?
It comes out May 12th.
May 12th. Oh, so pretty soon.
Maybe 14th.
Is it Amazon Prime?
That's
what I thought. Okay, dude, congratulations, man. That's like, what was it like working with Barry Jenkins and like being on that set?
Incredible. I mean, he is so like such a sweet human being, and also so like he knows what to say. Like he'll be like, dude, like he like pumps you up at the right times, or like whenever you need something,
Yeah.
just he's like a sweet guy, which I would have. I don't know why when someone's like a famous artistic director like that, I just have a cliche image of like them being kind of an ass,
Yeah, sure.
Excuse my language. I don't know if we should be cursing on here.
Yeah, you're fine. I'll bleep it out.
Oh, thank you. But and he was not that. He was like so collaborative, and it's so giving. And I had to take bullwhip lessons for that, which was incredible too. So like I learned how to use a bullwhip and operating that, and it was a blast.
So what you're telling me is Indiana Jones is coming up soon?
Indiana Jones 5. I will be playing Harrison Ford.
Wait, you're not playing Indiana Jones. You're playing Harrison Ford.
I'm playing Harrison Ford. Yeah.
Like Harrison Ford is still playing Indiana Jones, but in the movie you are also playing Harrison Ford. Dude, I can't wait to see that, dude. Congratulations on that.
I can't. Well, I pitched it to the studio, but I haven't heard anything back yet.
Oh.
But it's such a good idea.
I think they've already filmed it, buddy. But
I don't know.
Yeah, just keep working on it though. Did you write up a treatment or something and send it to Spielberg?
I'll write up a treatment. That's what I'll do.
But dude, I don't want to take any more of your precious time. I know you got to get back to reading your picture books. I know it's about that time and then nap time after that. But thank you so much for doing this show. Sorry so much for like taking forever to get started, but dude, it's such a blessing to see you and get to talk to you. I hope you know that I really admire your work, and I'm sure we'll get to work together again soon.
I know we will, man. Thanks for having me, and you're a treat, man. I mean, that flew by. I feel I had such a great time talking to you. I'd be on anytime.
Anytime? Okay. So are you free this like every day this next 6 months?
Ooh, that's just something people say.
Oh,
They just
okay. See, I haven't picked that up yet. I haven't been doing
no,
this
no,
for
it's just
very long.
it's just a polite thing people say.
Yeah, because like every time I do a podcast with a guest, like I'll text them, haven't heard back from any one of them. I had my mom on the show, haven't heard from her since.
Yeah, you might be a disappointment to her, Sam. I don't know.
Dang, man. All right, man. Let's end the show right there before I start crying. Again,
Hey,
thank you
thanks for
so
having
much,
me, man.
TC. You have a great rest of your day. And everyone, go check out Underground Railroad May 12th, and go. I believe breaking news, get it on like any VOD, like YouTube, Amazon. I'm sure. I don't know any other ones off the top of my head, but
That's
just
enough.
Google it
You
and
already know
you
more
can
than
buy
I
it
do.
somewhere or rent it. But thanks again, man. Have a great one.
Later,
All
Baba.
right, later, man.